First off, we have Trevor Linden. Trevor's hockey career spanned 20 seasons in the NHL. He spent 16 of them right here in Vancouver. He was named captain of the Canucks at the age of 21, making him one of the youngest captains in league history. He represented Canada at the 1996 World Cup of Hockey, the 1998 Winter Olympic Games, often known as Captain Canuck. Please welcome Trevor Linden to the stage. Next, we have Cliff Ronning. His hockey career took him to 7 different teams through 18 seasons in the NHL. His flashy style, speed, and scoring touch made him one of the most entertaining and productive players in the league. Please welcome Cliff Ronning to the stage. Dave Babych began his 19th career season in Winnipeg. He eventually found his way further west, spent 7 years playing in Vancouver with the Canucks. Among Dave's achievements, he's the only defenseman in the team history to record a hat trick during the regular season. Please help me welcome Dave Babych. Last but certainly not least on the panel this morning is Kirk McLean. Kirk spent 10 and a half of his 15 NHL seasons with the Vancouver Canucks. He holds many franchise records for games played, playoff appearances, and playoff victories, but we're hoping he'll tell us about the infamous save he made against the Calgary Flames during the '94 season. Ladies and gentlemen, Kirk McLean. So the way this is going to work, this is a panel discussion. I'm going to ask us a variety of questions, but we do encourage you to ask your own questions, and we have some runners. We have Jacqueline, right to raise your hand, Jacqueline, and Queenie. Where's Queenie? There she is in the back. If you have a question, raise your hand. They will come to you, and you can ask your questions to these members of the panel. I want to get things started off, first of all, by saying thank you for coming out this morning. And recently we had the Sochi Olympic Games, where our men's and women's hockey team did very well, defended their gold medal that they won here in Vancouver in 2010. They won it again this year. What do you think this means for hockey in Canada? Why don't we start with you, sir?
Well, obviously it means a great deal, without a doubt. I mean, it's the way both teams won this year was incredible, especially the women's. I know I was on the edge of my seat and jumped through the roof when they tied it up, and then of course winning it later on. But it was an amazing Olympics for both of them. The Canadians and the men's division was completely dominant in my mind. They were the class of the tournament by far. Yes, the games were close, but they really weren't. You know, they were out shooting teams by 2-1 most nights, and you know, really didn't give up too many chances. What makes it difficult on the goaltenders is to keep their minds in the game. But you know, anytime both
Kurt, hold on. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So it makes it difficult on the goaltenders when they don't get enough shots.
Mentally.
But when they get too many shots, then the defense isn't doing their job, right, Babs?
You see,
So, you know, they're never happy, right?
It's the mental part that kicks in when there's less shots. You know, 90% of the game of goaltending is mental.
If they don't get enough shots, it's mentally difficult. If they get too many, it's physically difficult.
It's usually easier.
They're never happy, these goalies, I tell you what.
So it turns out at the end of the day that you know, both teams obviously won, and it was a great accomplishment for Canada and Hockey Canada for that matter. And repeating from Vancouver was a great accomplishment for both of them.
Dave, what are your thoughts?
Well, obviously, we were all real excited about the outcome of the Olympics. You know, well, especially in hockey. But yeah, no, it just validates how good our system is. I think you know, now we're talking about junior, we might have a little bit more work there, but that's not because of the talent pool. I think just have to straighten out a few things. But yeah, it was very exciting. Women's hockey, you know what? We all watch it. Maybe not as much as the men's, but now I tell you, with that excitement, I will be watching all the time.
Well, I think for me the biggest thing is you know, being from Vancouver, but also being from Canada, saying you're born in Canada, and what it does, it's the world stage. You know, you see the Canadian jersey. It makes me proud. It makes people right across Canada proud, and the game of hockey really brings us together. The one thing Canadian hockey players are known for are how they play with big hearts, and they give it their best. Not always they win, but most of the time they're always in the hunt, and they really show that hard work will pay off. And I think that's what Canadians are, and that's really what it represents on the world stage. So that's kind of what it brings to me and my family and all the Canadians out there. We become very proud of being Canadian.
Yeah, I totally agree, Cliffy. I think that, you know, nothing brings Canadians together like hockey, and that's just that's the common thread. Whether you live in the western part of the country or the eastern part of the country, I mean, hockey is just bonds this country together. And I think, you know, I think Cliffy talked about being proud, and you know, really the Olympic Games since they're in Vancouver, I mean, it's almost transformed our country in that Canadians are proud now, and they're a bit bold, and they're confident, and I think that when we see our athletes perform well on the world stage, regardless of what sport it is, it reminds us how proud we are to be Canadian. And I think it makes our kids proud to be Canadian and proud to say they're Canadian. That's pretty cool.
Great. Are there any questions related to the Canadian Olympic men or women's team right now that someone would like to ask? If not, we can move forward. That's fine. And I forgot, you guys had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch the game. We thought it was terrible getting up at 6. Did you just stay up the night? Did you stay up the whole night, I guess, or did you actually set your alarms?
Babs stayed up all night. Yeah, I stayed up all night. I know that. We were visiting friends in Victoria, and that was part of the whole plan, was to you know, have a good evening of.
Did you stay up for the whole game, though?
I did.
Okay, you managed to get through the game.
Yeah. You know, it became anticlimactic. Actually, you know, we thought it was going to be a better game than what it was, and again, Canada was dominant by far. Yes, the Swedes were missing a few players and lost one of their big guns just before the game due to a kind of a goofy technical thing, I guess. But you know, it was just fantastic to see, and I think I wasn't alone as far as staying up and getting right into the game, not going for a nap before. So
right, cool. Now, speaking of Vancouver Canucks this season, a bit of a disappointing season all around. There's been injuries, coaching issues perhaps, goalie issues. Yes. What are your thoughts on the team right now, or what are your thoughts on what they could do in the future to improve and get them back into the playoffs? Goalies? It's a whole team of goalies. Goals, and score goals. As my son said, if you get more goals, you win.
Time to become the coach.
Well, I think the biggest thing, you know, Vancouver Canuck fans, they've waited a long time to win a Stanley Cup, or at least get to the finals again. And I think in 2011 it was very disappointing, because I believe that year, like the '94 team, we were kind of the underdogs the whole way. So it was fun to follow us, because we weren't supposed to win one game. When you won the one game, we weren't supposed to win two. So it was kind of a fun ride for the fans. It wasn't expected. And then when they went 2011, they, you know, they were the better team, but I think mentally tough. They weren't tough enough to finish it off. And you know, right now it's kind of, I guess, disappointing. I'm from here, so I was a little kid, you know, listening to Jim Robson with a little radio, and the old, you know, wearing the pajamas with the Canucks way back when Babs was playing. And I thought...
Yeah, we played together for how many years, Cliffy?
Oh, sorry, I forgot. But I think it's back to that pride thing. I mean, I think the Canuck fans, they really just want a team that goes out there and gives it everything they got. They love those players that try their best every night. And I think there's some nights maybe it seems like some of the players aren't giving 100% all the time. And I think that's something I'd like to see get back into their game. At least everyone giving everything they got every night. And I think they'd be a much more entertaining team. Yes, there's a lot of pressure playing in Vancouver, because there's not just one coach, but there's thousands of coaches. Even housewives are pretty good coaches right now. So when you're winning, it's easy. When you're losing, you got to find ways to get better. So, I mean, for me, I wish them all the luck. I'm still a Canuck fan. I don't like the way they're playing. I'd like to see a little more offense, because I never like playing defense. I'd rather see the puck played in the other end. So I wish them well. There's a lot of work ahead of them, and I think it's not just one person's fault what's happened. I think they just really got to regroup and get stronger from the young guys that like Babs is working with in the minors, and teaching these guys that work ethic. I think that's what's got to get back into the Canucks.
Dave?
Well, I have to be careful. I work with the Canucks. I'm part of player development, and you know, I'll take the blame if that's okay. But no, we do have a lot of young guys, you know, in the organization that are coming up, and you know, the longer you're in a game or you're a fan of this game, you know, these situations or these years will happen. Unfortunately, nobody likes it. It's very hard to prepare for, but we still have the building blocks to have a terrific team. Whether you call it retooling or, you know, revising the whole organization, some of that isn't necessary, but there are players that you need that may help. You have to, you know, you may have to bring in players that make other players better, and the ones that don't, maybe you have to let them go. It's very difficult, but you know, no one's more disappointed than you know, the management and obviously the fans and even the players. Like, you know, you don't like going on the ice and you know, having 18,000 you know, cheering fans be disappointed with your performance, and that goes right from the players to the trainers all the way up to management. So you know, I guess we all have to be patient. Like I said, the longer you're in it, the more you see this kind of stuff, and you know, we've been in it for, well, you know, well, 30 years. I can speak for myself, but like I said, we all play together. I might look a little older. Maybe I just take it a little more personally. I don't know. My hair is all gray and gone, but anyway, it's still great to be a part of. And like I said, I hope everyone's patient enough, because next year will be obviously a much better season.
You touched on a little bit about the 1994 games and how you said you were the underdogs, and we mentioned a little bit of that save you made against Calgary. I'd like to start there, and if you could explain the feeling of that, what you felt during that time, why was it such a momentous moment?
I felt, thank God it didn't go in.
Yeah.
That's what I felt. No, obviously it was a special moment for the team, and obviously in my career. It was the biggest save that I've ever made in my whole career. And, you know, that to do with the outcome, with Pavel scoring the overtime goal. So, yeah, it was just one of those plays where it was actually a 3-on-1 on Jyrki Lumi, and he played it perfect. He really did. He had a great player in Theo Fleury coming down with the puck, who, as everybody knows, is very nifty with it. Had plenty of options, whether to drop it back to the trailer, you know, take the shot himself, or make the pass, and he made the pass, and I read it right, and the two-pad stack, or two-pad slide, is an actual move, but it's a desperation move, because you want to get across as fast as you can, and I was lucky enough again to time it, and Robert Reichel was maybe just a little bit too close to the net to get it up over me, and I was able to get my toe on it, and then the rest is history from there.
I know. I'll give you my, yeah, that's a round of applause. So, and my view of it, so picture me, I'm sitting on the bench, I'm watching this happen, I'm thinking, okay, I've got Theo Fleury carrying the puck, I'm watching this, he's a pretty good player, and he's got a guy he can drop it to, as Kirk said, he can shoot it, or he can make a cross pass to another guy who's probably a 40-goal scorer in Robert Reichel. So, perfectly executed, Theo holds it, makes a perfect pass right on the tape. As I see this happening and Reichel about to shoot the puck, I'm like, game over. I'm, you know, about to hop over the bench and go. I mean, there's no way this is going to be saved, because it's a perfectly executed 2-on-1, and you know, I'm like, it's over. I can just see it happening. This is it. And Kirk slides, you know, reads it absolutely perfectly, slides across, and actually his bottom pad kind of came from the back and kicked it out. It was remarkable, because at that moment, in my mind, watching this, game over, and we're going home, disappointing, and you know, that save, incredible, and of course set up Pavel's winning goal, and on we go. So it's pretty cool.
You know, I always tell there was other key moments prior to that save that were just as important, if not as important, and one of them was Greg Adams tying the game with 3 minutes left.
Yeah,
we don't go into
overtime.
Yeah, we don't get into overtime without Greg scoring that big goal. And you know, so he had just as much to do with it than that one particular save.
And when you think about Greg Adams, like people forget, people talk about Pavel's goal, people talk about Kirk's save, but Greg's goal, it's 3-2. I think it was 3-2. Under 3 minutes to play, and he walks out from the corner, and then Greg scored, like, of course he scored the winning goal against Toronto in overtime. Dave Babych assisted on it,
yeah.
And then of course he scored the overtime winner in Game 1 in the Stanley Cup Final, which was the greatest game I've ever seen a goaltender play. This guy right here. I've never seen a goaltender make those saves in my life. And then Cliffy goes down the ice in overtime, makes a great feat to Greg Adams on a one-timer, and game over. So Greg Adams scored, amazing goals. And the other goal I want to talk about too is, what about Babs' goal in
then he jumped for joy and almost broke his back
in Game 5. That was good too.
Yeah, I mean, what was fun about the '94 team, it's always fun to talk about it because obviously we had great leadership in Trevor and some of the other, I guess, older guys. He was a younger captain, but it was a leadership. He led by example. I think that's pretty crucial, having a captain that leads by example. And it's not always just, playing pretty. It's those little things, getting in the corner, showing up with your nose on the other side of your face, as you can see. I remember it was, I believe, Game 7, and Trev had some issues with his ribs. It was rib cartilage or a broken rib. And we could hear him down the hallway. They were shooting a needle in him, and he went down there because he didn't want anyone to know how bad he was. I know myself, I was playing with a broken hand in the final game. We were beat up. But I remember that Game 7 going in there, and it's the first time ever, after we lost, I realized that team that I was very fortunate to be on, looking around the room, knowing that everyone gave everything they could. And it wasn't just about winning, it was about that friendship that we'll have for life. And that's, I think, why the '94 team is very close to this day. And it's a respect factor that everyone brought something different to the team. We had leadership. Guys like Greg Adams were the silent type, that scored big goals. Guys like Babych would block shots. He would do anything he could for the team to win. And obviously, Kirk McLean was just an amazing goaltender that if you get to know Kirk when he was playing goal, I play with different goalies that, if you make a bad play, they'll stare you down or give you one of the Brett Halls, as we say, put your hands up, like, what are you doing? Embarrassing in front of 20,000 people. Kirk McLean wouldn't say anything. He would encourage you, but you knew you made a mistake. And I think that, starting from the back end, really made a big difference for the rest of us, how we played, and that poise in net. So for me, I'll never forget the '94 team because we were friends, and I hope the Canucks can become friends like we were, and I think they'll be that much more successful.
Yeah, I'll just add to some of that. You talk about friends. We had fun when we played, and mostly on the ice, some off the ice. That's supposed to be a joke, but no. But we were a very close team. And just to say something about that team that Pat Quinn put together. We probably had, I don't know, it was 12 or 13 first-round picks. They might not have been picks from that the Canucks made themselves, but from all over the place. Where Cliffy said he was 9th round. Well, you seem like a first rounder anyway. No, but we had a whole bunch of players that were brought in from other teams that maybe underachieved, or situations where it just didn't work out for them elsewhere. But we were all brought in, and like I said, we all got along really well, and we underachieved during that season, maybe point wise, but we always knew there was something there, and something a little more special.
Dave was a first-round draft pick in 1968.
What a bunch of kidders, eh? No. But one more thing, like Cliffy was saying, in that run that we had, and obviously we didn't win, and it's still very disappointing. And but I remember on the plane ride back from New York, and I don't know if you guys remember, we had it was a private plane. Right at the front of the plane was was a little like a serving area with a small little bar, you know, where they had, I mean, they had drinks for us and food and so on. But we got on the plane, and there was maybe, I don't know, at the start, maybe 10 of the guys were up front. But we took off, and I bet you 30 minutes in the flight, the whole plane was sleeping. And that's just kind of the effort that we put out to, you know, to try to win. And we weren't successful, which was the worst part. But like Cliffy said, we, as a group and our families, we gave everything we could, and just weren't lucky enough. So, you know, to win the Stanley Cup is a real tough thing, but it's certainly not impossible.
Are there any questions? I'd still like to remind you. Yes, there's one gentleman right back there. Perhaps Queen can go to him.
Question is for Kirk. When the Toronto team was leading 4-1 in Game 6, what was going in your mind at that time?
Don't let another goal in, basically, and then continue to play hard and exactly that. Shut the door, and hopefully the team can come back and win the game, which happened. You know, it's a exciting time. That's all you can do as a goaltender is give your team the best chance to win every night if you can. You know, you're going to have your off nights, obviously, and the coach is going to recognize that. You may get the hook, or you may, be lucky enough that the team gathers around you and picks you up.
Okay, question, because I'm Toronto. To your question, that was Game 5, right? And did Wendell not have 3 goals? Was it not 3-0?
Was it 3-0?
Wendell scored all 3
goals.
Is that right? Wendell scored all 3, and
Game 5 because we beat him in 5.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
we beat him, and it was 4-3 final.
That's right. And Greg Adams scored on Felix.
And so I think Wendell had the first. I think Wendell had a hat trick. Was that right? Is that right? Okay.
And just can you grab your shirt there?
Which one?
Anyone. If you do ask a question, Queenie, can you come down here for a sec? We do have some autographed T-shirts to throw out, and at the end of the night, if you don't get enough, it's going to be a random throw. But if you have another question, we've got lots of autographed stuff to hand out. There's a question right there from a young gentleman. Jack, can you go over there? He's like, shirts. What is a puck? Do you guys think you're ever going to go back to that Vancouver V shirt they used to have, that weird black?
I think they will at some point.
You like that look?
I really do.
There it is right there. That's a good look.
You know, the way they can kind of make the retro shirts, the way they can doctor them up to make them really look good. I think somewhere down the line it's going to happen.
That's kind of.
I was in Winnipeg when they brought those jerseys out, and so skating around in warm up, this was the first time they kind of unveiled them. And I knew Stan Smeal from back on the prairies, and I'm looking at him. We're standing next to each other, just near the red line. I said, "Stan, boy, that's a good look." He says, "Yeah, it's embarrassing. At least you don't have to wear them." Anyway, it turned out good for them at that time. Yeah.
What's your question, young man?
What were your favorite moments during the Stanley Cup run?
I would say definitely Game 6 against the Rangers, going into Game 7, because we were victorious in that game, and it was probably the best game that I think any Canuck fan has ever seen. It was a very exciting game, and the Canucks were on the winning side, and the place erupted, the province erupted, and it was I think that was definitely, to me, the best moment as a Canuck.
For me, it was, can you imagine this today? Toronto, Vancouver, conference finals. Can you imagine that? So for me, no question, beating Toronto, Game 5, overtime, at home, Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver. That was good.
Thank you, young man. We've got a question right up in the front. Oh, you got one right there? Okay, perfect. And I'll get to you, yeah. Just talk right into it, yeah.
All right. Trevor, with all your business experience, would you consider being president of the Vancouver Canucks?
Oh, boy. That's a good question. That would impact my cycling and skiing career. But Yeah, I could ride my bike to the rink, right? So, you know, honestly, the last 5 years since I've left, it's been very interesting. Obviously, enjoyed, you know, working on the fitness business, which has been really rewarding and interesting, and I've enjoyed having flexible schedule and time and that sort of thing. I guess I've always said, I mean, if the right opportunity ever came up, you know, hockey was such an important part of my life. It's an important part of all our lives. It was a big part of my life, and I love the game. I'm still connected to it. I still feel like a fan and enjoy just talking with Dave about just his work with the team and stuff. So, I mean, there's always a possibility of that. You know, like I say, having said that, I'm quite enjoying what I'm doing now, and life's pretty good.
Great. Can you come to this lady in the front? Trevor, can I grab that shirt from you? Do you have a shirt? We'll give that to the man who asked the question. There you go. And a reminder, the wristbands, we're all out of wristbands for the autograph session that will be taking place over there. But what is your question?
Yeah, but I want to ask, seeing you're with the Canucks still, what do you think of the Heritage Concert being, like you went from the Pacific Coliseum to Rogers Centre, now at BC Place? What did you think of that against the Senators?
Well, I thought it was pretty interesting. You know, outdoor games or however you want to call them, you know, you always thought it'd be outside where there's a possibility of snow and nice and cold, but we were in the, you know, the confines of you know, BC Place, and I thought it was pretty well done. Like, it was, I didn't know what to expect, especially in a building that size. I know where we were, you know, we were fairly busy as the players that they brought in from '94, but I thought it was really well done. You know, the ice was terrific. Nobody complained about the ice, which is usually, you know, a complaint from players. But I don't know how many people were at the Heritage Classic that are here. Anybody? Was it a yay or nay? Was it good for everyone? Yeah, it seems to be. So, yeah, I thought it was pretty well done. I don't know if you could do it every year or every second year, but I think every once in a while it's still a great.
Have the women's hockey team there? The women's?
Yeah, the U.S. The Canadian Olympic. Yeah, some of the Canadian Olympic women's hockey team were there too, and that was more special for us because we got to meet them, you know, downstairs before the game started, and they had all their medals. It was quite a thrill for us also.
There's a question right here, Jacqueline, right in the front. There we go. Yes, right here. This one right here.
I have a question for Trevor. I just want to know, as a member I am now, what inspired you to start the Club 16?
You know, it was, I think it was born out of the, you know, Club 16 Trevor Linden Fitness was born out of the vision that we wanted to make fitness accessible and break down the barriers to fitness. And one of those is price. So, you know, our monthly membership dues are $14.99, which is the lowest price in the world for fitness membership. And the other thing we wanted to change is the attitude. We wanted to make fitness accessible for any person of any age, any shape, any size, and allow people to feel comfortable when they walk into a fitness club. So those two things have really been the core foundation of our business, and it's been successful and really resonated with people as we've seen it. We see seniors in our clubs, we see large people, small people, and they all feel comfortable, and that's and short people. Short people are allowed too. Yeah.
Great. That young man ran right up to you, didn't he? That shows you initiative, everyone.
Oh yeah, that's definitely me there.
How much did you guys have to practice to make it to the NHL?
Well,
Cliffy's still practicing.
I still practice. I'm still trying to make a comeback at 50 here.
You should come out and watch us on Wednesday nights next year. You'll see what practicing is all about. This guy right here, he can still play.
I'm one of those guys who just loves the game of hockey. And if I see kids out in the street playing street hockey, I'm going out there. I'm trying to score goals on them, as many as I can. It's all about winning, right? So I just grew up. I just love the game of hockey. It's just, you know, maybe I'm a little excessive when it comes to it. I still teach kids with my company on shooting and scoring. The fun side of the game, I teach absolutely no defense because I didn't know how to do it.
I want to know what your post-career stats are.
I am I'm definitely leading scorer of the Canuck alumni right now. My last game I had, I think, 14 goals and 4 assists. So.
No assists.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know you've all got your hands up, so keep them up. Where's that young man who asked the question? There you go, sir. Keep your hands up. We're going to throw these out there right now. And while I do that, I'd like you to give a round of applause for our NHL panelists. Okay, there's the young lady there. She had her hand up right there. You got it. Yeah, in the flower. That's the one I want. There's that boy all the way over there. Right here, right here. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go far back. Don't fight over it. It's Vancouver. You're supposed to be known as being friendly. Way back there. Okay, let's give them a big round of applause. Now, they are moving over to that sports section. If you look back over there, you see a sign that says sports. That's where they will be signing autographs. You do need that wristband in order to get in there. And thank you very much, guys. That was fantastic. A pleasure meeting you all. Yes, you can actually take that off stage, a microphone off stage. Hey, nice to meet you, Trevor. Nice to meet you, Dave. We'll see you again.